Hi guys, this is Mrs. Schoenberg, and I have 11.4 here in front of me. And before I get started on it, I want to just review a couple things over here. 11.4 is special factoring technique. So we're going to factor the difference of two squares. We're going to factor perfect square trinomials, and we're going to factor the sums and differences of two cubes. So over here on the differences of two squares, you might remember this from a previous lesson when we were foiling, and now we're factoring. So if you see that it is two factors and it's the difference, and both of these are perfect squares, what you're going to see is it looks like this. The first one is x minus 2, and the second one is x plus 2. Notice that x squared is a perfect square, which breaks down to x, and 4 is a perfect square, which breaks down to 2 and 2. The first one is minus, the second one is plus. Also remember that the sum of two squares is not factorable. Okay, so if you notice that they're two perfect squares, but it's the sum, you're going to choose not factorable. In fact, this one right here is, in that case, you would choose the not factorable bubble. This one right here, as always, you're going to first look to see if you can factor out a common monomial, and it looks like we can factor out 3b. So after we factor out 3b, what we have left is a squared minus 1. Then note that a squared minus 1, this is the difference of two perfect squares. So following the pattern, we'd have a minus 1 and a plus 1, because a squared breaks down into a, and the square root of 1 is 1, because 1 times 1 is 1. Okay? On the next one here, we have x to the 6th power minus 400. Okay? There's nothing to factor out in terms of a common monomial, but this is a perfect square, meaning x cubed times x cubed is x to the 6th power. And if you did the square root of 400 on your calculator, you would see that that is 20 times 20. And following the pattern, one of them is plus and one of them is minus. And as a reminder, if you FOILed this out, you would see that you would get x to the 6th power, and then you would notice that the middle terms cancel each other out because you have minus 20x cubed plus 20x cubed. And then plus and minus, plus 20 times minus 20 is negative 400. Okay. This one right here is unique. You might notice that it is a plus, and these two are perfect squares. But we could factor out a common monomial, meaning 4. So if I take out a 4, I have x squared plus 25. Because 4 goes into there, and 4 goes into 125 times. Now, this is as far as you could go on factoring this, because this is the sum of two perfect squares, but you could factor out the 4, so this is the answer you would put in. Okay. One more category here. This one is z squared minus 12z plus 36 and 4y squared plus 12y plus 9. Okay, let's start with this one. There's no common monomial to factor out. We're going to split up the z as so. You tell me why this one is special. When you think about the 36 factors of it, we're going to use 6 and 6, okay? 6 and 6. And this is plus, this is minus, so it's minus. So the reason why these are in the special factoring techniques lesson is because they end up being identical, the factors do. And that kind of helps you as you're factoring to find the factors of like 36, for example. You're going to find the ones that are identical. You could also enter this answer into Hawks as z minus 6 squared. Okay. Finally, this one, let's take a look at it. There is no common monomial factor. So let's just start here. And again, this is in the special factoring technique, and these are going to have to be identical. So 4y squared, we could break that down as 2y and 2y. Notice the plus signs here. It's both going to be plus. And what are the identical factors that when multiplied together get 9? 3 times 3? That would be the answer. You could enter this answer in Hawks, or you could enter 2y plus 3 squared. Now, again, when you multiply this out, 2y times 2y is 4y squared, plus 6y is the plus 12y, plus 3 is plus 9. So that's the first half of this lesson. I'm going to save that, and then we'll start with the second half of this lesson here in a second.